Okay. Hey everyone. It's been quite a while since we did any sort of video analyzing the NHL, mainly because obviously with all the crazy stuff that's going on, it's been pretty difficult to sit down and have a look and, look forward to some sort of sport. We got the announcement from the NHL as to what's going on. Regular season is over. Gonna have a quick look through everything, but also the lines for the series and everything outright conference and series are back up now as well. So I'm just going to run through this and tell you what we will be on. Because the date is so far away, and I'm not even sure they've confirmed that 30th start date yet anyway, we're going to just make sure that we get on the lines early that we want, and then leave the ones that there's no point in tying up your money for what would be 2 months just for, a unit or half a unit play. So let me just change these odds for you a second. Okay, so I've already had a look through all of these and done all these matchups. There's not a massive amount I love, to be honest. It's very weird because obviously everything is at a neutral venue. It does change things to a certain degree, but generally speaking, if a team is at a neutral venue, obviously there's no home advantage, but that also means that variance tends to even out a bit. So you're not going to get crazy ref calls that lead underdogs to coming back in series and things like that. So if a favorite goes up 2-0, for example, it's very, very unlikely that they're even going to get a game. So 3-0, 4-0, it's going to be more common. There's only two bets I like, but I'll run through everything. Flames, Jets, again, can't really call that, to be honest. Won't even be placing any bets apart from maybe a couple of individual game bets. Canes, Rangers. Rangers seems like a decent price at plus 120. But Canes did really well last year. Obviously, we all know what happened. It so it's just not a team I really want to bet against. But at minus 140, I don't want to take them. Oilers, Blackhawks. This you're probably going to get a better price at Oilers to sweep than laying minus 165. But again, at that price, I don't want to touch it. Preds, Yotes. This is one official play. So minus 130, we would take Predators to win this series. Now, reason why is because although Coyotes, I think, had a better season, points percentage wise, we'll have a quick look so I'm not misremembering things. Okay. Okay, they didn't even, but it was pretty close. You're looking at 70, 74, 78. So again, very, very close, but 4 points in it. In this scenario, Preds are a better team. They've had some issues on the defense recently. Goals for 215, goals against 217. And if you look down here, 217, Yote's defense has been really, really strong. I just don't think that's going to have enough. I don't see how they score more than a couple of goals. Um, and I think unless they start winning games 2-1, 2-0, it's not going to happen, especially over a series. You can also check head-to-heads, which we'll get into at a later date. The Yotes don't match up massively well against Predators, and core star talent is with Nashville as well. So although I like Yotes maybe next season as a potential to do well in their division, I don't want to take them in this particular matchup. They're only just squeaking into this, and realistically, it's not a team that's, in my opinion, going to do much. So minus 130 for a better team in a series is pretty straightforward. That's going to be 1.3 units to win one. Islanders, Panthers. I have a weird bet on Panthers to win the entire thing from the start or from midway through the season at a crazy price. So I'm not going to touch this. I'm just going to hope they win. I would probably take Islanders if it gets up to plus 105, plus 110 range, or even just as a individual game basis as well. Penguins, Habs. I'm not even sure Habs will bother turning up for this. They're kind of rebuilding already. But if you have a look, Pittsburgh had a really, really weak part of the season, and then they started coming back quite well. If we have a look, we don't have a last 10 in here, but they second half of the season they were a little bit better. And then obviously Montreal probably wouldn't, well, I mean, definitely wouldn't have actually got into the playoffs. So there is that as well. So I'm going to pass that. Don't take minus 210. You can get better odds. This is just why I have this open. I prefer the UX of Bet365. Ironically, on the mobile version is the best as well. But in terms of best prices, shop around, bet online, Betway. Bookmaker probably has the lines up by now as well. So if you're looking to take someone, just have a look, have a shop around first. So Penguin series price minus 195 versus minus 210. And obviously, if you're looking for Habs for some reason, plus 175 is obviously better. Jets price is up to plus 110 here, which is interesting. Still only minus 105. So you're getting a very, very tight 5 cents line there with minus 115 and plus 110. So that's something to look at if you like either one of those sides. But then moving on, Leafs, Blue Jackets. I have no idea what happened with the Blue Jackets getting so hot last year and just, sweeping Lightning, which was one of the strangest things that I've seen in a while. But again, no opinion here at the price. I would like Blue Jackets to get the win just because I think Toronto are a dangerous team. But I don't think neither of them are as good as Boston or Tampa, so I can't see them going to the final or getting through a conference final matchup. And then the final play, Vancouver at Minnesota, or not at, but Vancouver with Minnesota in the series price. I like Minnesota plus 115. So a couple of reasons. Experience. This is the first year that Vancouver have been any good, to be honest. If you have a look, pretty much they are slightly better on the win-loss. They have one more point, but one more point at a neutral venue to get a plus 15. I'm not so sure, personally. I also think Canucks have a way easier division than Minnesota, which we'll take a look at in a second. One more thing that we'll have a look at. So yeah, Vancouver, to be fair, they are a lot better than the last couple of years, obviously. But I just think with the strength of schedule, with the matchups, they are a little bit overrated. And on a neutral venue with a team that goes to the playoffs all the time, in this division, you're coming sixth and you're still on 77 points. It's pretty impressive. Versus this, Sharks, Kings, Ducks are all trash this year. So you're getting some easy points when they come to your house. And even just looking at goal difference, I mean, minus 39, minus 34, minus 44 versus minus 60 and minus 2. Like, that is a big difference in terms of strength of actual Central Division versus Pacific. Golden Knights, I think, are a good team. Oilers, I think, are a decent team, although a little bit top heavy. But yeah, I just can't see either Yotes or Nucks getting the job done. So I guess my kind of analysis really is that the Central Division is a lot stronger than the Pacific, and people aren't looking at that enough as they should. That's basically the short version. So our two plays, plus 115 Minnesota Wild to win the series, and also minus 130 Nashville Predators to win the series as well. It's going to be a unit each as normal, potentially more on individual games, but everybody who's signed up will get those through as normal plays. Again, shop around, just double check. I'm going to have a quick little look at the futures. There's one or two things I like for this. So if we have a look at futures, I'll check first because I don't think there is anything that I particularly love. Everybody that got on with Lightning plus 16, plus 1400, I guess that's an awesome setup we have now. This is exactly, despite it being a hell of a lot later in the year, where I thought we would be with the Lightning at 5-6 to 1, joint favourites with Boston to win it all. When, or if, I presume when those two collide, it's going to be intense. And I hope if Tampa get through in 6 or 7, they don't get beaten up too much. I think that's the Stanley Cup final realistically. I think Avs have a good team. Blues, I think, might not get through. So I think it'll be Vegas or Colorado against hopefully Lightning in the final. We have a lot of exposure on Lightning, but I'll talk through everyone with that individually. In terms of long shots, like I said, I had Panthers at plus 50 or plus 5,000 plus 6,000 or 60,000. I don't remember the exact number. It was a crazy high number. I just thought it was a bit dumb at the time. Everything else, Preds plus 4,000 is worth a look. But I don't love anything else on the board. Yeah, I would say that's pretty much it. Don't get too crazy with the outrights. There is a couple of things I like on the conference though. For anyone watching this video who hasn't seen any content before, we have a massive exposure ticket on plus 1600 and plus 1400 for Lightning. So I'm not going to touch anything to do with the Eastern Conference. We may be hedging whoever Lightning play in the conference final, especially if it's Boston. Down here, we had Vegas Golden Knights to win the division, which they just did in the end, thanks to that ruling, 86-71. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward, although that massive game just before everything started shutting down in Edmonton was a big one for us. But there's a few things I like here. There's a few prices. So kind of on this note already, if we're getting Predators plus 2,000 and Wild plus 2,200, those are some good prices to have a look at. So although I think these two teams are top by a lot, there's some value there. So if anybody wants to take Nashville or wants to take Minnesota, I don't think that's a bad bet. I probably wouldn't take them to win the Stanley Cup just because I don't think they're going to have enough to go all the way. I think if they get a bit of luck and they go through, say, a Vegas team or a Avs team that they learn how to shut down that top line, I can't see it being too difficult. And at 20 to 1, it's worth a shot. That's basically it. We'll have a look here, see if there's any things that don't match up. Okay, so everything looks pretty much the same. Again, as always, shop for your lines, because here plus 650, and this was only what, plus 500. So you can see instantly you're getting better prices. Vegas plus 800, plus 600. This is a crazy amount of money if you go on to actually win these bets. So please just shop around first. Capitals is an interesting one. Pittsburgh and Capitals. If this was 3 years ago, these two would be up here and it would be flipped. So you'd basically have Boston and Lightning in this 15 to 1 range and Caps and Penguins in this 6 to 7 to 1 range. I don't really know what they're going to do. They're obviously going to hit each other in the playoffs, probably, as long as both of them get through. And then if that happens, they're going to have to go through so much to win it. I don't know if it's going to be possible to go through each other, then, a Boston or a Tampa team, then a Vegas or a Colorado. I don't see that happening personally, but it's worth a cover bet. And if you like one of those two, I'd probably say take them for the cup, not just for the conference, because if they run that well and they get through one of these two, they should go on to win it anyway. So yeah, that's it. I wouldn't go messing with any of these Stanley Cup matchups. And then that's pretty much it. So as general recommendations, you can see here as well, you've got Preds only plus 14 to win the Western Conference, whereas this we're getting plus 20 to 1, I think. Yeah. So 20 to 1 versus 14 to 1 Western Conference. That's a big jump as well. Wild getting 30 to 1 here, only 22 to 1. So again, massive difference. Make sure you bet these in the right places. Bookies will have shaved lines to a certain extent to who they think will do well. So in this case, it's a very commercial, generic book. They're going to just have shorter lines for most things, whereas something like Bet Online, it's generally going to have higher limits and better odds. So if you like somebody at a higher price point, you're usually going to get a better odds with them here. Okay, so for example, if you like Panthers at plus 22, you get plus 33 here. Okay, so 33 to 1. And again, that pretty much sums up everything. If anybody has any questions and they are part of the GBT community, just drop me a link on the WhatsApp, or if you want to sign up, obviously hit the link in the description. Any questions on the Tampa bet or anything in regards to playoff matchups, let me know via email as well. All right, cheers.